So welcome back from the break, which I'm sure for you was very long, because now it's the best part, it's the judges round. And I'm sure it's what the panel have been waiting for as well, because it's their perfect opportunity to grill all the contestants. And I'm sure they're looking forward to that. So what's going to happen in this phase is that the judges, based on what they've heard and if they have their own personal questions, are going to ask the teams questions and they're going to expect responses. So guys, contestants, make sure that you really do impress the judges in this round, because this could prove a decisive factor. Okay, and after that it's going to be followed by the results. But let's get into the judging round first. So judges, I'm going to ask you if you have any questions and you're going to tell me which team you want to ask. You can ask both if you like. So without further ado, judges, would you like to take it away?
I'm going to ask a question for both teams. Do you think there should be a relationship between your duties as a citizen and your rights as a citizen? So for example, if you do pay taxes, do you think that necessarily means that you should be able to vote based on that? It's open to both teams.
No, because loads of 16-year-old, young 16-year-old, they're in gangs and gang cultures, including influences that promote violence and sexualization and human trafficking. So they can't be able to vote. Yeah, they can't be able to vote.
Okay, so would you guys like to respond to the question?
We think yes, because many 16-year-olds, they have part-time jobs, or they are taking responsibility of their parents or siblings or household responsibilities, and they have to do a lot of school choices or career paths. So that's why we think it's all about responsibility and maturity.
Okay, so both teams have given a good response to Mr. El Ghandam's question. Now I'm going to ask if perhaps Miss, if you have a question.
In your speech that you gave out earlier on, you said education is vital. My question is, so don't you feel that it's vital for 16-year-olds to be educated enough to make that decision to vote?
So do you think that 16-year-olds need to learn properly about politics before they can come to a proper decision about who they're voting for?
I strongly disagree, because the reason the age whoever's 18 or over can vote, because they are more experienced. They want something better for the country, and I think it's better for mature people to vote because they're more experienced. And then, for example, you guys be living for a long time, so you guys can decide what the country need to do to improve economically. So 16-year-old, there might be some people who might not be interested in politics and might not be doing it for the GCSEs or college or university, but they have they're going to be quite busy revising for the exams, and then I think that they won't have any time to vote. They have the exams, they have college, university, apprenticeship, whatever it is. They'll be busy, and then they shouldn't be stressing about politics too much, because I don't blame them, because they're not experienced. They don't know.
Okay, so he's clearly flattered the judges with his comments.
So you're saying that as a 16-year-old that you're going to college, you might be working, you're not educated enough, and you can't be educated enough to vote.
No, I'm trying to say that what do they know? How should they improve? Basically, when you're voting, you want something best for the country or best for yourself, and you want to help improve other lives in the UK. They're not that experienced enough. They're only 16.
But I think what Ms. Akintinde is trying to say is that you keep on stressing how they're not experienced enough or not educated enough. But what would happen if you give them that education? If you teach it in schools, then wouldn't they be educated enough then?
Yeah, but they might not take that responsibility good enough. I don't think so.
Okay, I think we'll move on to another question from the judges. So
I have a question for flexible ideology. Okay. I assume that you respect your parents. So, how are you going to assure me, here you are, you're 16 years old and you've got a vote, how are you going to assure me that you have an independent mind that can weigh up all the facts and you're not just going to vote the way your parents vote?
Like we said before, voting is a huge responsibility, yeah, and it's your own voice. So if you have a chance to vote, obviously they will be more interested. 16-year-olds will be more interested, and they'll probably do more like research about it. And we're not just gonna listen to what our parents says if their point of view. So like they said about propaganda, we're not just easily influenced like that. You're mature enough to make your own decision, and you have your own voice that should be heard.
My question leading on from that, a lot of fake news is about nowadays. You mentioned earlier about young people being more interested in politics, but as a 16-year-old, how are you going to decipher that the information that you're getting from social media is real information for you to be able to make an informed decision when it comes to voting?
Even though there's a lot of news that may be fake, schools still teach a lot about politics and stuff. So a majority of 16-year-olds will understand from schools how politics works and how voting works.
And they also probably could ask their teacher about it, not about what their point of view is, because they don't want to, obviously, like David said before, about how we're easily influenced. It's not that they're going to ask them what their opinion is, they're going to ask about how do you vote and like the political system overall.
Okay, so Mr. Random, do you perhaps or another judge have a question for the Justice Voices?
I've actually got another question for
okay, sure.
Sorry, I'm putting them on the spot here. But I'd also like assurance that, because I know the mature adults often have difficulty looking into the future, but here you are at the beginning of your life, you're 16 years old, and when you talk about voting, you're talking about voting for things in the future. How easy will it be for the 16-year-olds to consider things that will affect them perhaps 10 years down the line? Do they have the maturity, do you think, to look forward into the future and how they might be affected by the vote that they take now?
So do you think 16-year-olds are mature enough to envision their future, or do you think that vision of their future will be blocked by responsibilities in the present day? So have you come to a response, an answer?
They know what they want for their future, what jobs or what they want to study, and also I think you underestimate them a bit more than you should.
Would you like to? Okay,
Sorry.
sure.
There are some people who doesn't know what they're going to do in the future. So for example, my science teacher never knew he's going to be a science teacher until the last year of university or like that, because he wanted to teach a thing. So are we literally going to put our trust on them, on the decisions they're going to make, which is going to affect us 10 years time, however long?
Okay,
I'm trying to say that
was a sort of
Yeah, is that an argument?
Yeah, I think.
I'm trying to say that there are some people, some 16-year-old who doesn't know what they're going to do, what they're going to be in the future, what
So,
career path they're
I
going to
think you're
choose.
basically reiterating Mr. Thompson's point, which was made. Okay, judges, can I ask you if we could have a few questions directed at Justice Voices, just to
Right.
keep it fair?
Okay, I've got one regarding, we've got the age of, you mentioned about marriage, like 16-year-olds can get married with their parental consent. So wouldn't you think that if someone can get married, go into the army, have a job, pay into the system of a country, don't you think they should have that right to vote, to be able to influence the future of that country?
I think no, because they aren't responsible enough and they can't have like big jobs and stuff like that. They can have loads of money to do those.
I think what Miss Akintunde is trying to say is, you're saying they're not responsible enough, but she just outlined key points which prove their responsibility. For example, they can get married, they can join the army, they can have a part-time job, which still requires some sort of responsibility. So wouldn't you say this responsibility is enough to justify the vote for them?
16 years old are not experienced enough of life. Some people may live 100 years, 70 years, and they're just 16. They were like born yesterday. They don't have proper jobs yet. They don't have a lot of experience of life and know a lot of economics.
So
your argument doesn't weigh up, because there's a lot of elderly people that have had experience of life, but they choose not to vote.
Yeah, that's their decision.
So why are we restricting a vote from the 16-year-olds that want to vote and take part in our political system?
Because they're too young.
okay, I think we'll end the questioning from the judges there. That was quite, there was a lot of tension there. I could feel it myself. But now that's finally over for the contestants, and I'm sure the viewers who are watching at home are upset. But yep, we've come towards the end of the competition for today, the debate. And now I'm going to give the judges just a few minutes to quickly talk over and talk about who they think the winning team was today, who spoke the best, and which team got their point across properly. And also, if the judge could come up with an award for the best speaker of today. So judges, if you could have your 1 minute conversation now.
1 minute. Not even 2 minutes. Well, I think.
So as we've seen so far, right now the judges are coming up to a decision, but personally, sitting from here watching the debate, I think it was a fantastic debate. Both teams, they went head to head, put in their all in order to try and prove their point and put the other side down. And I think both teams done a fantastic job. But of course, it's not up to me, it's up to the judges who are, as we speak, coming up with a decision as to which team won and who was the best speaker for today. So, have we come to a decision?
We have.
Okay.
The jury's out, or in, rather.
So, the judges have come to a decision. So firstly, I'm going to have to ask the judges to talk about why they chose the specific person for the Best Speaker Award. Then I'd like you to give the name. So judges, take it away.
The person that was chosen for the Best Speaker Award demonstrated good knowledge and understanding of the topic that they're debating. She gave sound rationale regarding this topic, and overall she just outshone everybody else.
So who's the winner?
Well, you've already appreciated that it's one of the girls, and it is in fact Rafa.
So Rafa, well done. You have won the best speaker for today's debate. Well done. I really enjoyed your performance today as well. I mean, it was really good. But to everyone, I think everyone spoke really well today as well. But Rafa, you just stood out. So well done for that. But now for the big decision. Judges, I'm going to ask you firstly to talk about why the specific team won, then give us the name.
So I think the team that won today showed a variety of different opinions, not coming from just one side, coming from different sides. So they talked about the political aspect of it, the economic aspect of it, and the citizens' rights and duties as well. So for that reason, for that well-rounded performance in terms of the different side of the arguments that they showed, I'm going to pass it over to David.
And before he mentions it, I just want to remember the viewers that the person who won the Best Speaker Award doesn't necessarily have to be from the winning team. So David, would you like to take it away?
The best speaker today,
Not the best speaker, the
sorry,
winning team.
the best team today, debating this very hot topic, was flexible ideology.
Well done to Flexible Ideology. I mean, it was truly, truly hard fought. very, very tough competition from the Justice Voices, but in the end I think the Team Flexible Ideology were just flexible enough to slip into the quarterfinals, and I think they've made it there. So I mean, today we had a truly great debate. And I'd like to give a huge thanks to the judges for coming. I'm sure they enjoyed really grilling the contestants at the end, and I'm sure that the contestants enjoyed debating with each other. So congratulations to Flexible Ideology, but commiserations to Justice Voices, but you still did do very well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's program, and it looks like Flexible Ideology were just flexible enough to slip into the quarterfinals. So congratulations to them, but commiserations to the Justice Voices. But I'd like to say everyone did put in a really, really great performance today, so make sure you do keep your head high. A huge thanks to the judges, who I'm sure enjoyed themselves really grilling the contestants today. But from me and everyone else in the studio, we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Perspective, but until then, it's goodbye.